guys, welcome to Barrookie. Today's video we're going to review the new and improved Nuobells, the Model S. It's everything you loved from the previous version, but they listened to us and they delivered. They made an awesome, beautiful, epic dumbbell. In today's video, we're going to do an overview of this dumbbell. Then we're going to take a look at the mechanism, how it works, and we're going to compare it to its older brother, the Nüobell regular, and then we're going to take a look at if we can justify the cost, because this thing costs a whopping 1,100 euros for a pair of 2 to 40 kilogram adjustable dumbbells. And spoiler alert, we are going to justify that price. We're going to close off with some pros and cons, and that would be the video. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the Nuobells are adjustable dumbbells. That means that this small form factor replaces a full-scale dumbbell rack. So with this here, you replace 840 kilograms of hex dumbbells. How awesome is that? Now, before we dive deeper into the overview, I want to talk about the naming scheme because it wasn't clear for me until they explained it to me. Basically, you have the Nuobells, then there is either an S or not an S. The S is for the newer model, no S means the older model. And then the numbering scheme, I have the 240, the S240, that means it goes from 2 kilograms to 40 kilograms. This one is the regular 232, that means it goes from 2 kilograms to 32 kilograms. For my American friends here, you're going to have the S5100, and that means it goes from 5 pounds all the way up to 100 pounds. Just so you know. Now, this is an adjustable dumbbell. It replaces 840 kilograms of hex dumbbells. That's great. It's made out of cast iron plates with a stainless steel connector, and that's where they already changed it from here, but more on that later. An aluminum handle to keep the weight down of the handle itself, but it's knurled, which I like very much. And then we have the plastic mechanism. I'm going to explain why this is still plastic. Now, what I also love about this is they look like round dumbbells, and they are, but they have flat feet. So that means that if you put them down, you don't roll them over accidentally. If you want to roll them over, you still can. And I like this specifically for a situation when you're bent over rowing, and then you're done with one side, you go down with the dumbbell, whoop, you slide it to the other side, either under the bench or in front of the bench, and boom, you can continue on the other side. I like that very much. So yeah, that is a quick overview. Now for the mechanism, and this is where this thing actually shines. So the Nuobells have an ingenious mechanism with safety in mind, and more on that later about the safety. But the way you switch your weights from 2 kilograms all the way up to 40 is by turning this handle, and it makes it super easy. So now I'm at 24 kilograms, boom. If I were able to lift this up in this unergonomic position, I would. If I want to change it back to a lower weight, I just turn the dial, boom, and I lift the plates up. It's that simple. So the dumbbell itself is made out of 4 different parts. First one is the handle that weighs 2 kilograms. Then we have the main weights, the plates that we see here, which are 4 kilograms each. So whenever we take up 2, we jump in 8 kilogram increments. That is too much. So for that, we have 2 change plates, one of 1 kilogram and one of 2 kilograms. And those bridge the gap in between the larger plate sections. So more on the advantage of using 2 change plates instead of 1 with the old design when we compare the 2 together. Also, before we go any further, keep in mind Nuobells provided me with these dumbbells for free. I get to keep them, and that's awesome, but that doesn't mean that this review is going to be any more biased than if I were to buy them or if I were to borrow them from a friend like I previously did. So these first 2 weights here are selected by little pins that stick out from the side of the handle right here. So if we look at the plates, and this is where the safety feature comes in, is they are all interlocked by this stainless steel knob and the stainless steel plate. So this makes sure that everything locks nicely together. So if I put two plates next to each other, you can see I can't pull them apart. The only way I can get them from each other is by lifting it up. And by lifting it up, I can remove them. The way the mechanism works is once these are interlocked, a rod comes into the hole here. Boom. So it prevents it from shearing, so the dumbbells are locked very well together. It's not really the rod that holds everything together, it's just locking it in place. It's really this mechanism, these things here, that really make sure that it's a secure connection. Another safety feature of this thing is, and I thought that if you just go too ham on this handle, the mechanism will spin and you will be able to switch your weights. That is also not true. You can only turn the handle when this thing is in its cradle. And that is because you have here two push thingies here, and they only get activated by these two pins in the cradle. So only when I put this in the cradle, I can really turn the handle, and only then we can change the weight. And here, because I moved some plates, we can really see how the mechanism works. So if I want to select the 1 kilogram plate, one pin comes out. If I want to select the 2 kilogram plate, another pin comes out. If I want them both, the two pins come out together, so they take up both of them, and then the rod comes out for the 4th kilogram, and then we take this thing out. Now, talking about this mechanism is a perfect segue to compare it with its older brother, because here for the Model S, they decided to use two change plates, a 1 and a 2 kilogram plate, and a 4 kilogram plate on the outside, whereas the previous model only used 1 kilogram plates to take up, and then it only had 2 kilogram plates on the side. Now, the main advantage of this is that, one, you're able to use less plates as you go up in weight. That makes sure that you get a more robust design. That makes also sure you can use a bigger plates here on the side. And the bigger the plate, the more robust the mechanism can be. So as you can see, here we really use a big knob and a big slot. So in the previous model, they used plastic. And although this is very strong plastic, it's still something that people doubted. Like, hey, I don't want the mechanism of my dumbbell that holds everything together just be plastic. And that's why by adding this extra plate, they were able to use less pieces. They were able to make it more compact, more stronger and more durable, and they were able to ditch the plastic altogether of this mechanism. And I have this graph here that really explains that as the weights go up, we use fewer plates and fewer parts, and that means less rattle, more robustness, and more weight overall we can add to the complete dumbbell. To give you a reference, if the OG one here would go up to 40 kilograms, it would use 23 different plates and pieces with the handle included, while this thing going up to 40 kilograms only uses 13 pieces. So they got away from the plastic locking mechanism. Also, the cradle is more robust. It's a thicker aluminum. It's also looking more durable, so I really like that. I think even that the complete cradle is aluminum, where you had some plastic bits on the side of the old cradle. It's just more robust with this design. That doesn't mean that this thing is a bad thing. It's still good. If you bought this one, you're still golden. Another slight difference between the older model and the newer model is the knurling. So the knurling on the older model is much more aggressive than the knurling on the newer model. I prefer a more aggressive knurling, but hey, in the handle they still went with plastic, and I asked about this while going back and forth with the guys at Nüobell, because that's still plastic. It still sounds brittle, but they said, hey, it's more durable apparently, and the reason for the plastic is also for longevity, because this is a fairly complicated mechanism with probably some gears and stuff like that. So in order to have a smooth operation, if you use only metal on metal, you need to lubricate this thing regularly. And by using nylon and plastic together with the metal parts, they don't need to use as much lubricant. The operation will be a lot smoother. This is also the only way to get a 2 kilogram base handle, which can help for any rehab exercises. So apparently the plastic is stronger than this one, and it's also there for a reason, so you don't have to lubricate your Nuobells every single time that you use them. Boom. So let's talk price about this thing. This thing comes at a whopping 1,100 euros for a pair. If you have to buy this at once, that's expensive. I understand that. But basically, this is the best deal. I compare this to the previous version. I compare this to buying a set of hex dumbbells from 2 kilograms all the way up to 40 kilograms. And if we do this, this one comes out as being the best deal. If you're training alone, get Nuobells, that's for sure. If you're training with multiple people, you would want to change to hex dumbbells, because then you're more versatile. Every single person can use a different weight of hex dumbbells and you're still good. Now, price for hex dumbbells is about more than 2 sets of Nuobells. So you could opt, if you're only with 2 people, you can opt to get 2 sets of Nuobells, and that would still justify the price. Now the same goes for my American friends, and Rogue hex dumbbells are very expensive. You could even justify getting 3 Nuobells before you get to the price of hex dumbbells. Now keep in mind, hex dumbbells are definitely more robust than this thing. You can throw them, you can do whatever. They are basically indestructible. Now, if we talk about price, I specifically did not compare them to any other type of dumbbell, because each and every dumbbell has their own benefits and drawbacks. And I don't have a big set of adjustable dumbbells to really compare that. For that, I'm going to have to send you to my man Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, because he has a lot of adjustable dumbbells. But let's talk about the pros and cons to wrap this video up and to see whether or not for you it's worth buying. So the pros, it's a more robust design than the previous model, which was already pretty robust. This is one that held up very well. I don't see any scratches or any wear and tear, and this is used very oftenly by my friend, and thank you to my friend for letting me use this. It replaces a complete rack of fixed dumbbells. That's a huge plus for me. It's very compact for in the home gym. That's super. You can easily switch the weights, so by just turning the dial, you can go up in 2 kilogram increments. It's also an open design. I'm going to briefly compare it to my power blocks. My power blocks were closed off on the handles, and I was constantly bumping with my wrist against that outer side. I don't have that with the Nuobells. They're just so smooth in operation. It feels like a hex dumbbell, which is not a bad thing. Now, there is some rattling, but it's not a concerning rattling in my opinion. It feels like everything still locks together and still holds together. A con, I would say, for this thing is that you can't drop it. Also, in order to change the weight, it has to be in the cradle. With my power blocks, I could just leave them there. I could switch the weight on where my bench was, and I can take up lighter weight and just continue pressing. So here you really need to put them in the cradle. Another con maybe of the new and improved design is these knobs here. So if you're wearing a shirt or if you're wearing shorts, I find myself that this thing sometimes like catches onto my shirt or anything, and especially if you don't use the 40 kilograms, that might happen, but hey, that's a minor thing. That, I think, is a wrap up. Thank you again to Nuobells for sending them to me for review. I really love the opportunity, and I really hope for you guys, the viewers, that I gave an as unbiased view on this thing as possible, while still being all-inclusive as it comes to the information. I really want you to understand the mechanism on how this thing works and operates, so that you can understand and you can judge for yourself whether or not this is a good buy. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. I hope you got something out of it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the new and improved Nuobells Model S, and I guess I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Peace!